Imagine a world without a single wheel. No cars, no carts, not even a simple wheelbarrow. It seems impossible, doesn't it? Yet for thousands of years, this was reality. Civilizations rose, monuments were built, and vast trade networks flourished, all without the invention we take for granted. So, how did they do it? How did our ancestors move everything from water and food to giant stones for pyramids and temples? Today, we journey back to a world powered by muscle, ingenuity, and the sheer force of will. This is the story of transportation before the wheel. The earliest and most fundamental form of transport was, of course, the human body. For millennia, our own 2 feet were the primary engine of movement, but carrying heavy or awkward loads required clever tools. One of the simplest, yet most effective, was the carrying pole, or yoke. Balanced across the shoulders, a single person could carry double the load, distributing the weight evenly. We see depictions of this simple technology across the ancient world, from Egyptian reliefs to Chinese paintings. It was used to carry water from the river, harvests from the field, and goods to the market. It was the backbone of daily logistics. For larger items, teamwork was essential. Groups of people would work together, using slings, ropes, and wooden frames to lift and carry heavy objects. Think about the massive stones of Stonehenge or the Olmec heads in Mesoamerica. These colossal monuments were moved 4 miles across difficult terrain, a testament to coordinated human effort. They used sledges' simple frames that could be dragged along the ground. To reduce friction, they might wet the path ahead or lay down rollers made of logs. These weren't wheels, as they didn't rotate on an axle, but they were a crucial step in understanding how to move immense weight. But human strength has its limits. The real game changer in pre-wheel transport was the domestication of animals. Suddenly, humanity had access to living engines far more powerful than themselves. The first and perhaps most versatile of these was the donkey. Hardy, sure-footed, and capable of carrying heavy loads over long distances with minimal food and water. Donkeys became the workhorses of the ancient world. They were the delivery trucks of their day, forming packed trains that moved goods like grain, textiles, and precious metals across mountains and deserts in different parts of the world. Different animals were adapted for transport. In the Andes of South America, the llama was indispensable, perfectly suited to high altitudes. Llamas carried goods along the intricate network of Inca roads. In the freezing north, dogs pulled sleds across the ice and snow, making life possible in the harshest environments. And in the vast deserts of North Africa and the Middle East, a new supertransporter emerged. The camel, its ability to go for days without water, made it the undisputed ship of the desert, opening up trans-Saharan trade routes that were previously impassable. These animal caravans were the lifeblood of long-distance trade. Imagine a line of hundreds of camels or donkeys, laden with spices from the east, salt from the desert, or silk from far-off lands, stretching as far as the eye can see. These caravans weren't just moving goods. They were moving culture, ideas, and knowledge. Cities and oases sprung up along these routes, serving as vital rest stops and trading posts where merchants from different worlds could meet and exchange not only their wares, but also their stories and innovations. While land transport was developing, humanity was also conquering the water. In many ways, boats are an even older form of transport than domesticated pack animals. The earliest boats were likely simple log rafts or dugout canoes, hollowed out from a single tree trunk. These were perfect for navigating rivers and lakes, allowing early humans to fish, hunt, and travel with greater ease than on land. In places like ancient Egypt, the Nile River was the central highway. Nearly all heavy transport, especially for massive construction projects, happened on the water. Barges made of bundled papyrus reeds or wood could carry astonishing loads. To build the Great Pyramids, multi-ton blocks of limestone and granite were quarried miles away and floated down the Nile to the construction site. This was a logistical operation of staggering scale, all coordinated without a single wheel. They built canals to bring the barges even closer to the pyramid complexes, showcasing a masterful understanding of engineering and hydrology. In other parts of the world, from the Pacific Islands to the Mediterranean, seafaring technology evolved, with sails harnessing the power of the wind to cross open oceans, connecting entire continents through maritime trade. So, with all these effective methods, where was the wheel? The wheel was actually invented around 3500 BC in Mesopotamia. But here's the fascinating twist. For its first few hundred years, it wasn't used for transport at all. The earliest evidence of the wheel is from making pottery. The potter's wheel allowed for faster, more uniform pottery production. It was a revolution in manufacturing, not transportation. The idea of putting a wheel on an axle to create a cart came later. And even when the first carts and chariots appeared, they weren't an instant success for everyday transport. Early wheels were solid, heavy discs of wood. They were clumsy and fragile. On top of that, you needed a flat, cleared road to use a cart effectively. In many parts of the world, with mountains, dense forests, or sandy deserts, a pack animal was simply faster, cheaper, and more reliable. Carts were often a luxury, used by armies for war, chariots, or by royalty for ceremonial processions, not for hauling grain to the market. Think about the Americas. Great civilizations like the Maya, Aztec, and Inca rose and fell without ever using the wheel for transport. They built massive cities, complex road systems, and pyramids that rivaled those in Egypt. Their success proves that the wheel was not a prerequisite for developing a complex society. Their mastery of human porters, llama caravans, and canoe transport was perfectly suited to their environment. The absence of large domesticable animals, like oxen or horses in the Americas, also meant there was less incentive to develop wheeled vehicles that would need to be pulled. The true revolution of the wheel and transport came much later, with key improvements. The invention of the spoked wheel made it lighter and stronger. The development of better roads and infrastructure made carts more practical for widespread use. It was a gradual process, not an overnight change. For centuries, pack animals and wheeled carts existed side by side, each used where it made the most sense. The humble donkey and the river barge remained the most efficient way to move goods in many regions long into the age of the wheel. Looking back, the world before the wheel wasn't a primitive or static place. It was a world of incredible ingenuity, where humans found brilliant solutions to fundamental problems using the resources they had. It reminds us that technology isn't a single, linear path. The carrying pole, the sledge, the pack animal, and the dugout canoe were all perfect technologies for their time and place. They built empires, fed populations, and connected the ancient world in a rich tapestry of trade and culture. They were the carriers of civilization, moving the world one step, one paddle, and one hoofbeat at a time. So the next time you see a truck on the highway or even push a shopping cart, take a moment to remember the long journey of logistics that began on the backs of our ancestors and their animal partners. The story of humanity is a story of movement, and it started long before the invention of the wheel. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more stories about how our world came to be. See you next time.